No more. I just want less hassle in my life. I've been making the same breakfast taco every single morning for months now, I think. I don't even remember the last time that I bought frozen breakfast sandwiches at the supermarket, but I'm going back to those because I have realized it is way too much time and effort to make that breakfast taco from scratch. I still use the microwave for the sausage links. Once I used to be breakfast sandwich, microwaved, coffee made, ready to go. Now, I have to preheat the skillet for the eggs. I have to microwave the sausage links. I have to go back and forth getting the tortilla once I finish mixing the eggs and pouring them into the pan. I'm tired of the whole process, and not just of that, of other things. So, what's up, everybody? It's Henry. Welcome to Zillennial Nexus, cultural commentary from a man caught between generations. That's me. I'm the Zillennial Nexus point because I could have been a millennial if I'd been born a few days earlier, but I'm Gen Z. So there's that. Anyway, at what point does cooking stop being a flex and start being just a complete waste of time? Andrew Tate honestly had this one clip that makes a lot of sense. I don't agree with everything he says, but occasionally he makes a good point, and quite frankly, I think he might have been onto something. I've shown this clip before. I'm going to show it again.
You're going to spend time preparing food? Now, actually, think about this for a second. If you're broke, if you're not a millionaire, the last thing you should be doing with your time is cooking. I can't think of a lower ROI activity than walking to the fridge, getting out some ingredients. Ooh, an onion. Oh, let me get the onion. I'm going to start cooking. Fridge. Ooh, an onion and some lettuce. Now, get a knife. Get my knife. Cut my onion. Start to cut my onion. You're broke. You're fucking poor. You can get rotisserie chicken for $5. Boom. Chicken, bang, eat, bang, back to work. You can fucking do a million things. You can go for a run. You can get in shape. The time you spent cooking, if you dedicated to kickboxing, you could have got paid from kickboxing or piano. You could fucking be a traveling piano man with the time you wasted cutting fucking onions. If you're broke, there is zero reason why you should ever prepare a meal.
I would argue that you should still prepare a meal, but you should just find a way to simplify it. That's about my halfway point between what he's talking about and what I've realized, because he's right. The time I could have spent, the time I spent making that breakfast taco, making pizza dough, making literally anything that requires several steps, that time could have gone towards something else. Now, it might not be something like kickboxing or becoming a traveling piano man, as you mentioned in the larger part of that clip. But the point is, I'm realizing now that cooking is something of a waste of time. Yeah, I used to romanticize it as a way to escape restaurant prices and make equivalent dishes. The problem is, it requires a lot of steps. Like the breakfast taco I went over takes like 15 or so minutes for me going back and forth, and I have to sometimes deal with my mom or my brother barging in, or I have to wait for them to finish before I can do that. Like last Saturday, I think it was Saturday, I had to wait till much later in the morning than I'd have liked to get my breakfast taco together because my brother was in the kitchen because I slept in that day. Yeah, it was Saturday that I slept in. Or was it? Yeah, it was Saturday. But yeah, prepping, preparing meals like that, it felt intentional. I thought I could use it as time to listen to YouTube videos or audiobooks, but the reality is I had to I have to share a kitchen with my parents and my brother. As I mentioned before, I had to wait until my brother was finished using the kitchen to make my breakfast, the breakfast taco that is. What they don't show you in the man cooking steak at midnight TikTok videos or something like that are four roommates' dirty dishes in the sink, and probably that you had to wait until that time because everyone else was using it. I don't like having to deal with the mess that comes up from it. I don't like having to deal with waiting to use the stove. Honestly, I really wish I could be like the stay-at-home sons that Tommy Lahren complained about who were, quote, ordering Uber Eats or some or DoorDash, one of the delivery services. I wish I could just do that so that I never had to deal with cooking and such. Unfortunately, I don't live in that timeline, nor am I stupid enough to sink my money into that. But yeah, I guess I could justify the cost if I had more things I could take care of. I'll admit, sometimes it was a nice change of pace from. It broke up the monotony of doing this and other things. Like, for example, with pizza, it's starting to become annoying because making the pizza dough requires a bunch of effort. I have to boil the water. I have to wait for it to come down to a certain temperature. I have to mix it with the sugar and the yeast. I have to mix it in with the flour, salt, and the olive oil. And then once I've mixed and kneaded it, I have to let it sit for 40 minutes before it's ready to use. And then I also have to layer on the sauce, the cheese, the pepperonis, and the jalapenos. No more. I just want less hassle in my life. I have realized that there's always a trade-off. It may cost a little more sometimes. It's definitely going to cost way more if you order DoorDash or Uber Eats. But I need to simplify my life. So some of my low effort food staples, once I finish the supplies for the breakfast taco, I am switching to back to frozen breakfast sandwiches that I can just wrap in a paper towel, microwave for a minute or so while I make the coffee, and then I finish making the coffee while it cools off, and that's ready to go. I've also decided instead of something like a burger or a chicken sandwich, I'm just going to stick to deli sandwiches across the board with a 1/6 of a bag of lightly salted chips instead of making chicken nuggets, fries, or chicken sandwiches, or burgers, or anything like that. No, I'm just going to get prepackaged cold cuts, store brand burger buns for those because if I do one every single day, I get my 8 days worth. And they're also cheaper than the tortillas. And then finally, I might actually buy some pre-made pizza crust next time I go food shopping to use up the last of the toppings, but then once those are gone, or maybe I should use up the 5 pound bag of flour I have, but once those are gone, I am going back to just frozen pizzas. I am tired of having to do all this. I am so tired of having to manage all of that. You know what? Maybe I'll start getting some now and then only make the. No, I should clear out what I have. But yeah, making these changes, among others, will be functional wins because I've realized they remove resistance. It buys me back more time per day. Sometimes it would take like 20 minutes to make a burger and fries. And then there's the cleanup. Oh my god, the cleanup. My life will be so much simpler after this. Yeah, the way I see it, you shouldn't be preparing extravagant meals at home unless you are a multi-billionaire. Or at least if you're not financially comfortable. Because there is always a trade off. You are either going to spend more time making cooking a meal with all the cleanup and such, and less money. You're either going to spend less time than less time, but a little more money on frozen things or easy to make things like I just described, or you're going to spend an ungodly amount of money to not have to put in the effort, but you're going to end up, you could also end up spending more time if the restaurant takes longer or the delivery or whatever. You get the idea. So, honestly, the only way I would go back to doing this kind of cooking full time is if I lived entirely by myself and cooking was a optional way to save money and freely enjoy listening to my audiobook. If that were the case, I would totally keep doing it. But unfortunately, I have to share the kitchen with my parents and brother. Even if my brother were to end up moving out, like he's said he might, they're still my parents that I have to contend with. I don't take it personally, but I also recognize that, like trying to avoid disruptive children in public spaces for child free people, the burden is on me to figure that out. So, yeah, cooking can still be an interesting way to customize your food and such, but at the end of the day, I really want to get into prioritizing my time and sanity over the money savings. So, you know what? I'm going to wrap it up here for the video. You let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this, whether you think I should use this as motivation to money max so that I can have my own place and do all my own cooking and not really have to worry about restaurants unless I am going out. Or do you think that, uh, or do you think, I don't know. You let me know what you think about all this. Be sure to give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe for daily videos of cultural commentary from a man caught between generations. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.